that sand trap. Now, there's a lot of other sand traps that I could talk about today. Divided priorities is a sand trap. Ghosting customers and clients is a sand trap. And paralyzing fear that keeps you from making those big sales, that's a sand trap. But the one I want to talk about today deals with where we are right now, and that is isolation. Isolation is a mental sand trap. Oh my God, think about it. Isolation is like solitary confinement, and that is a punishment and a torture. I mean, when you're in isolation and you're all by yourself, there's no engagement with your peers, your comrades. There's no stimulating conversation. You know, in Castaway, even Tom Hanks had to get a soccer ball and put some eyes on it and call him Wilson so he'd have somebody to talk to. Isolation is a sand trap, and you may be feeling that way right now. I mean, you're cut off from everybody. You're behind a computer right now watching this presentation. You're not out at a conference or with your peers. Isolation can really mess you up because when you're in isolation, you're not able to bounce things off of other people. And unfortunately, it's an amplifier of some things in your life. And that's what COVID-19 has done. It's put a lot of great people in isolation. Hey, I'm an extrovert. I like people. I get my energy from a crowd and from hanging out with people. And when COVID-19 hit and I had to stay at home and I couldn't go to coffee shops and networking events and Top Golf or any of those other places anymore, oh my word, it just about drove me nuts. Well, I had to do something about it, just like you're going to have to do something about it. So if isolation is a sand trap, then your phone and Zoom are your pitching wedge. And it's something that you can use to get you out of that sand trap. And that's exactly what I did. And I was freaking out. I didn't know what I was going to do. Somebody invited me to a Zoom happy hour. And I thought, this is going to be weird. But I got a glass of wine, and I sat in front of a Zoom, and I began to have some discussion with my peers. Before very long, I was invited to a mastermind, a book mastermind. And man, I got into that. Here's 7 or 8 other people, and we're going to a book together. I started my own book mastermind and invited some of my peers and contemporaries together. And so every Wednesday at 3 o'clock, man, we'd open up our computers, we'd get on Zoom, heads would start popping in, conversations would erupt, and then we'd get into the book and we'd start going over the book. It was incredible, the camaraderie that I began to build in that book mastermind. Before very long, I had team meetings that I had to attend. I mean, I'm president of the National Speakers Association. All of a sudden, 40 presidents from around the country are in front of me in a Zoom meeting, and we're talking about our chapters and how things are going and our highs and our lows, and I'm feeling encouraged and enthused. Zoom and your phone are your pitching wedge to get out of isolation. Connect with people. You know, I put up a scheduler that when somebody wants to talk to me, they pick a date that works for them, and then that sets up a Zoom meeting, one-on-one Zoom meeting, puts it on my calendar, puts it on their calendar. Oh my word, my one-on-one appointments have tripled during COVID-19. I'm having more conversations and better conversations than I ever had before. You know, at a networking event, I'll be having a conversation with somebody and we're about to, really dive in there and sink the hole and everything's going to go good. Somebody will walk up, distract the whole thing, divert the conversation a different direction. That never happens in Zoom. So I want to encourage you, if you're in that sand trap and you feel isolated, if it is to be, it's up to me. It's up to you to send out some Zoom invites, connect with people over your phone, and just chat with them. You know, a 20 or 30 minute Zoom meeting is plenty. People don't want to spend an hour on a Zoom meeting, but 15, 20, 30 minutes, yeah, man, let's do that. And you can catch up. Go to some Zoom happy hours. I go to 3 Zoom happy hours a week. I am in 3 book masterminds, and I have 3 team meetings. I don't feel isolated anymore. And some of that, most of that, is because it's things that I initiated. So here's the deal. We practice what our athletes would do, and athletes don't get in isolation. Instead, they get with their team members, they get with their comrades, they get with the other players, and they find ways to stay in communication. And if you'll do that, you will pitch out of isolation, back into association and hanging out with people, and that energy will come back to you. Hey, listen, my name is Scott Carley. I'm the Change Energizer, and I energize stalled leaders to focus and take action on their goals, their priorities, and income-producing activities. I look forward to spending more time with you again.